Ducati Streetfighter V4S, acclaimed 208 horsepower from a V4 motor lifted from the Panigale, and a superbike chassis to match, and wings. This fight formula, as Ducati call it, should equate to another Banzai Bologna bullet. But it's actually more of a big friendly bear.
Now, of course, there is, however, a caveat. This thing is still rampant. It's 0 to jail in less than 3 seconds. It is utterly bonkers, but it's just still quite nice. It's quite civilized. It's easy to ride. It's unwavered. It's stable. It's just very, very unlike Ducatis we've come to love and hate for some people over the years, and can't argue with it. It's very, very good. And if you're not au fait with Panigale V4s, the latest, it's got this weird cylinder cut where it just goes dead quiet. There's nothing, and then you oh, there it is again, back in again. And this surely must have something to do with getting around emissions, because this thing sounds so good. I mean, yes, it's pretty much identical to the V4, the Panigale V4, but it sounds a little bit better. There's no fairing, so the sound kind of escapes. I don't know, there's no fairings to deaden the noise, I suppose, but it does sound pretty damn sexual. Anyway, so I'm on the way to Chris's to see if he thinks the same. Look, of course it's not a massive fluffy bunny, but I'll tell you what, it's very, very different, as I said before, to the Ducatis we've known, and it's definitely, there's definitely some murmurings in Bologna to make the bikes easier to ride, as of course the 2020 Panigale V4 that Chris rode. So I'll be interested to see what he thinks, and we're gonna have a day spanking this beauty. Ciao, 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 ciao.
As we're deep in lockdown, we need to get the old measuring stick out.
It's been sanitised.
Hasn't. 180, 190, 2 meters.
There we go.
That's massive.
So Chrissy, I've had a ball on this thing this week. It's been so good. I mean,
just one of them.
Just
like hanging off.
Yeah. Just teabagging. Do the luge. Anyway, I've had a great time this week. Roads have been quiet, sun's been out, it's just been beautiful, and I've had so much fun on this thing. It's so easy to ride, and I'm surprised because it's not the bonkers beast that I was expecting, you know. But yeah, like I said, looking forward to letting you have a go, because it is, I think it mirrors the 2020 Panigale V4 in that it's easy to ride, and hopefully that translates onto the road as well, so for you to sample.
Gearing's different, is it? Like a bit more
so the
friendly?
gearing is one down on the front and one up on the rear, so it's much shorter. The wheelbase is longer, surprisingly, 19mm longer, and it's been tuned for more mid-range. So obviously the wings and the core of the bike is the same.
Nice. I mean, this is actually the first time I've seen it in the flesh.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to any of the shows this year or anything like that. Well, there's nothing happening anyway. It's growing on me.
It's definitely better in the flesh. Well, it's 20 grand, so it's a lot of money.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Which, you know, some say it's been lessened. You know, they have to meet a sort of price point, because the Panigale V4S is 25 grand, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, you lose some fairings, it's 5 grand less.
Well, let's get on it and give it some batter. Righty-ho then. So here we have, this is the first bottom testing moments I've had on the Ducati V4 Streetfighter or Streetfighter V4, whatever you want to call it. Bear in mind I rode here on a normal V4 Panigale this morning. This is luxury compared to that. This is absolutely very comfy saddle. First thing I notice. Lovely. Whoa. Throttle feels quite nice and smooth. Nice riding position. Bars are quite far forward, so you need to be a bit of a lanker, I think. Obviously the chassis is pretty similar to the race bike, the superbike, so you know there's not much they can do, hence why the bars are probably quite far forward. Obviously the dash is lovely, switchgear is the same. Instantly I'm not intimidated by this bike. I feel it feels pretty comfortable, pretty straightforward and pretty simple so far, and the ride is smoother. So let's go and get some petrol in the old girl. Nice. Whoa, very nice power delivery, much nicer and kinder than the Panigale. I don't feel too battered in the wind either, to be honest, which is rather strange because I'm a 6'3" fatty. First impression, good. Blipper, that is beautifully smooth. And again, 30 miles an hour here, 34 in second gear. The Panigale would be doing a bit of chop. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a ferocity to this throttle, but it's not like when you've ridden Panigales before and you try and hold a constant throttle and you get that rackety-clackety irritation. This actually feels really quite smooth. Feels very natural to ride, very just very easy actually. For a 180 or whatever it is, 200 brake horsepower naked street fighter. Well, that was nice and easy. Fill up, had a little ice cream. Today's choice was a Twister. Oh, what's this? It's just some fucking it fooled me though, I tell you that. And throttle response is nice. Let's go into a different mode, shall we? Let's go race. And then when you hit the country roads, whoa, holy ball, holy ball. That is fast, but a beautiful flowing motorcycle, very nice. Like the intense rush at the top end is noticeably lower than the Panigale, but you don't need it. Just let it drag you out of corners on that torque. Like it doesn't need to rev to 14.5 grand. Well, love. Cheers, Nige. It encourages you to smash through the gearbox. It's a bit like my GS. The gearing's so short and close together that you just kind of pull away from junctions and just go bop, 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 and use that torque. And it's more fun. It's more fun. Another pub shut down. A couple of annoyances. My gloves are very close to these mirrors, and it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit clumsy. They could be a bit further forward. Nothing else sticks out as particularly annoying, which is quite rare. The exhaust tone is nice. The throttle response is lovely. The build quality is obviously excellent. It's a premium bike. I mean, what's there not to like? I don't know. Looks, I guess, and that's just subjective.
On the way to Chris's today, we did good 100 miles, hour and a half, and as you will know, regular viewers will know, my body gets sore with a hint of dry saddle, and this, not once was I not had to sort of get off and lean a cheek off or anything like that. It was top comfort. You know, I don't know if Chris's gangly legs will pick this up, but as I said before, I've spent a lot of time on this bike this week, and you don't necessarily pick these things up straight away. And when you're touring, when you're cruising at, you know, 70, 80, 85, there is a bit of wind resistance on your legs, and it kind of forces them out a bit. I mean, obviously you get that with quite a few naked bikes, but this in particular with the wings, I don't know how the wings affect it, but it's definitely a bit achy. Whether or not it's intentional, but Ducati have kind of kept the Streetfighter vibe alive in the ergos, and it does feel similar to the previous, you know, the old 848 and 1098 Streetfighters. Sexy, everything about us so sexy.
Apart from we just caned a massive fat pizza, now I can barely move. It's all right, we'll do it. We'll figure it out. You've got a bit of a chicken kicker on your...
So, Chrissy,
Oh,
has it lived up to your expectations?
it's exceeded them in some ways.
Yeah.
And in others, it's not a negative, but in others it hasn't lived up to what I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be a proper raging bull.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not.
I think that's what everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
When someone says to you, let's put a Panigale motor in a naked setup, you think, man, this is going to be unrideable. But
Yeah.
it's kind of in a sadistic way, you go, yes, please, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. And I don't think a lot of people did want that, but it's not. It's very different, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's actually a really, really good motorcycle.
Yeah.
And it's obviously super fast. It's really easy to ride. It's really intuitive to ride. There's no, as soon as you're on it, it's not like, oh, like thinking about anything. It's really natural to ride it. And so in those respects, it's an amazing bike. It's just, is it a Italian throbbing V4 beast? I don't think it is. I think it's something else. I think it's sort of moving, it's marrying closer the Italian passion to the sort of Germanic rest of the European stuff, which is actually what the new V4S is a bit like as well.
Yeah.
They're sort of
Usability.
going that usability,
Yeah.
which is, you know, brilliant. The product is better. It's definitely better. It's just whether it's the same thing, you know,
Yeah.
the same passionate, balls out thing, which is why you buy a Ducati.
And that's the thing, usability. I mean, this is the first Ducati I've wanted to ride in town. Any speed, anywhere, it will go. There's no horrible throttle, there's no sort of stuttering, there's no chain clatter.
Gear selection is
it is just effortless, yeah. And it's, you know, it is probably, well, it's the easiest Ducati I've ever ridden. Simple as that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Even easier than like a scrambler.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's super premium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think the Jekyll and Hyde thing, it's not, like you said, it's not the raging bull that most people were expecting. But at the same time, you've got near 15,000 RPM to play with on the road.
This is true.
And it is insane. I mean, as I said before, you want to change it at 10, 11, 12 because that's what feels like you should happen. But
Yeah.
you've still got another 3,000 RPM to go, and you go, ah!
Yeah. I mean, I was even changing earlier than that.
Really?
Because it felt like it's the type of bike that you just want to ride the
Yeah.
torque.
Yeah,
and just pump it through the gears.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable to just bump. You know, you don't, and that's another thing I like about it. You don't have to be going balls out tit speed to enjoy yourself. It's actually, you would enjoy yourself at any speed, as you said, even in town. It's an enjoyable thing to be on.
As I said, I've done a lot of miles on it this week, and my overwhelming conclusion is this is a bike for older Ducatisti with bad backs and chronic masturbation injuries, because it is comfy, isn't it?
It is, but that doesn't. But I wish we'd get away from this myth that comfy means boring and old and crippled.
No, but for those who don't want a Panigale, for those who don't want a sports bike, a proper, you know, head down, bum up superbike.
Yeah.
This is the best thing. This is the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
That kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Thing.
It's pretty close to being a really perfect all-round motorcycle.
Yeah.
You know, it's got everything that you could want. You could jump on it and ride to Switzerland tomorrow if you wanted to. If it didn't have Ducati written on the side, I think you'd struggle to know that it was one, to be honest with you.
I suppose if it didn't sound like a Panigale, and if it didn't have Ducati on the side, and if it didn't have, you know,
Red
and Brembos and
Yeah.
Marchesinis or Pirellis, but then again, I know exactly what you mean. You ride it blindfolded and you go,
What is it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, it's almost like it's what an S1000R should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's got that sort of, because the S1000R is a little bit dull.
A little bit dull
in the hands. It's not.
It's horrendously dull.
Yeah. So it's kind of, it's as compliant and as easy to ride as the S1000R, but it's got some Italian sperm in it.
Yeah. It's quite strange. I've always, I'm sure like you, have gone, right, race mode. Let's go race mode. Got to be race mode. But this model in particular, have it in sport mode. It softens the throttle. It just makes the whole ride a little bit easier. And for the first time ever, I think, I've wanted to be in sport mode over a race.
Yeah. But you're getting close to 40 now, though, aren't you?
I am.
Because, and this is the interesting thing, because what is actually happening to you is you're becoming sensible. Because why make your life hard?
No, but I mean,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
The point is, the difference is way
it's
more
not very
tangible.
nice. It's not very nice to ride it in race mode. The
No, it's
suspension's
not.
too hard, particularly hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the pliance that it has in sport. It doesn't have that soft sort of grippy front end, the nice wafting round, but quickly.
Yeah. But in terms of, let's talk about handling. I mean, because initially I thought it just didn't feel like it was going to be any good in the corners. It just feels, because you're almost so upright and it's quite relaxed riding position. It's only when you really start to set to it that you go, actually, man, this thing handles.
Yeah.
There's so much mechanical grip, and the front end feels really nice. You can push on really hard. Obviously, there's plenty of grip from the back as well, but it doesn't, as I said before, it just doesn't, in that initial moment when you ride away, you don't expect it to do what it does, but it really is. I'd say it's right up there with any handling super naked, any decent handling super naked.
And even some sports bikes, to be fair. I think, it's not, we said earlier off camera about, what happens when you take it to a track day. It's obviously not going to perform as well as the Panigale. It's obviously not.
No, ground clearance is going to be an issue. I think that will be one of the biggest things. It's a little bit softer,
but it's going to do a bloody good job.
Yeah.
And still be able to cope with everything else. It is, God, dare I say it, I would commute on that. I would tour on it. I would do a track day on it, and it's got everything really. It's arguably one of the most complete motorcycles Ducati's ever made.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And I think it's almost, you look back at the old Street Fighters and there were balls out, just insane, stupid things. They were difficult to ride, just fucking mental. It's almost like it's a V4 monster. It's kind of sat in its own territory a little bit. It's not the balls out, oh my god, impossible to ride thing. It's kind of, I think it's sat in its own. Like, I don't think a potential purchaser of this and say a Super Duke R, I think they're two different machines.
Well, you look at it on paper, you've got the three main rivals. The two main rivals are the Tuono and the KTM Super Duke. Yeah. But a lot of people will think they are in the same group. They are, but they're so different. The KTM is a bespoke naked bike, utterly bespoke, and it is bonkers. Everything's below 10 grand. Everything's at the touch of a throttle, whereas this is more superbike, like the Tuono. But again, the Tuono is more, I think it's kind of somewhere between the two. And it's going to be really interesting when we do our Super Naked Mega Test at some point this year. Yeah. Because they are completely different bikes. But like I said, on paper, those are the three you would choose. Yeah.
Yeah. And this feels, granted I haven't ridden the new Super Duke, but this feels so premium as a product. There's no Ducati rattly stuff with it. Yeah. It's just, it feels solid in the hand.
And stable as well. I mean,
Theresa May
all over it. I mean, previous Ducati naked bikes, you think, you get a bit of a wobble on, even, at slow speed, you get a bit of a head shake or it was squat and buck a little bit. There's none of that.
Nothing.
Even when you wind it up, there's none of it, which is really surprising. Yeah.
And even for the first non-multi-straded bike, comes with heated grips if you want them. Yeah. But there's a button on there. You have to pay extra, of course. Yeah. But that is Germanic. It's if Audi
has come to the Ducati and went, Ah.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Why don't you make them a bit fucking better? So
But 20 grand though, I mean, that's too much money, isn't it?
yeah.
It is.
Well, here's the kicker for me, I guess. Exactly, 20 grand is too much money for that bike.
Yeah. I think it's when you look at its rivals, so Tuono you can get for 13, 14 grand now.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah.
And yes, it needs an update desperately. I'm hoping that this now and the new Super Duke will give a Aprilia kick up the botty and go, right, let's make a new one. And likewise, the KTM is still, the base model's, 16 and a bit, and once you spec it, it's probably 18
Well,
grand.
and it's worth saying at the moment, you can get a 2019 Super Duke from KTM, brand new, for 12.5 grand.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not completely seamless. I mean, the gearbox, I mean, don't be wrong, the whole gearbox execution, mechanically and electronically, is sublime now. It really is sublime. It works any speed, any gear, it's lovely, but from 5th to 6th, you still get that, it doesn't hit a force neutral like it used to, but it's still got that bit of hesitation, and it still doesn't feel quite, like they've gone 1st to 2nd, 2nd to 3rd, 3rd to 4th, 4th to 5th, no, 5th to 6th, I'll leave it.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, lunchtime. It's just not quite right.
I'm not sure the wings are doing anything for me particularly. I think there's 4 of them, for God's sake. And it's kind of like, if you need to be going over 100 mile an hour to make any noticeable difference. So it's like, well, I don't want to go 100 on that anyway, because your head's going to be ripping off, and it's not for that.
No.
And I think it just, it messes it up a bit, I think.
130 miles an hour, 135 mile an hour, Ducati claim 28 kilos of downforce.
Right. And at 138, is the front wheel on this going to be coming up with that gear ratio?
No, but it's not. No, but it's part of
it's
their.
It's a 2020 thing, right?
It's a 2020 thing. It's part of their.
Get
thing.
it? But as you said earlier, off camera, you should be able to spec it without.
Yeah.
It's not a multi-strada for practicality, but you could easily, you could fit your missus on the back, do a nice little ride out for the day.
Yeah.
If you're on your own, you could put some luggage on the back quite nicely. You could stick a tent on there and go off with your mates and have a laugh around the Nürburgring.
Yeah. And talking of practicalities, I know some of you want to know. I mean, on the way up here, constant throttle, motorways, dual carriageways, fuel consumption was 44, which I was surprised. I wasn't going slowly, but that constant throttle, it worked out okay. As soon as you go for a bit of playtime, the lowest I saw was like 24, 25. So
that's still pretty good.
It's not bad. Yeah.
So come on then. Best thing about this new bike?
Best thing about the new bike is just how easy it is to ride.
Yeah, I was going to say versatility.
Yeah.
I think you could easily have that as your only bike.
Yeah.
You don't need a multistrada.
Yeah.
And you don't need a Panigale either. That does both of those jobs very well, and it feels robust and solid. And I think you could run that through the winter. You could, heated grips. That's about it. But still, you could run it through the winter if you really wanted to. It feels like it's a solid machine. But we've still got. Oh, mate, did you just cough?
Yeah. So what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, we've still got some.
Still got some sunshine, yeah.
Sunshine. So should we go and scratch around?
Yeah. Let's go and scratch around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bravo, Bologna. Bravo.
Tutti fatti.
Blah. Blah.
Have we got any more dominoes left?
Yeah. Yes.